Olá, pessoal. Tudo bem? Welcome to Brazil Crypto Report, where we explore Brazil's bustling crypto ecosystem. I'm your host, Aaron Stanley, and today I'm joined by André Salem, who is the founder and CEO of Cryptum, which is a Brazil-based blockchain as a service company. André and Cryptum recently commissioned an extensive survey of Brazil's Web3 ecosystem. He interviewed more than 1,000 retail and financial services professionals from across Brazil about their views on cryptocurrency, Web3, digital real. So today we're going to dive into some of those findings and see what was uncovered, and then we're also going to learn a bit more about Andre and Cryptum. So with that, Andre, I'd like to welcome you to the show.
Hey Aaron, thanks a lot for having me here, man. It's a
Great.
pleasure to share about us and to share about our report as well.
Amazing. Yeah, appreciate you making the time. So to get started, why don't you just give folks a bit of a background on yourself and on Cryptum?
Perfect. So basically, I'm working in the blockchain space since middle 2015. I started it on IBM Research Lab in Brazil. Therefore, on 2017, I started my entrepreneurship journey, developing like working in the software house development way, just focus on blockchain side. And after that experience, we realized that we had like inside of our own stack blockchain as a service tool and to provide to the market. So at that time we opened up Cryptum. It was the end of last year. So September last year into Ethereum Brazil hackathon, we sponsored the event and provided the initial tool to developers. So Cryptum was born at that time. So basically, since then, we have been offering to the market an easy way to onboard developers and companies into the Web3 space, abstracting the complexity to level up them to the Web3 space.
Amazing. Yeah, I think that's where we first met. Actually, was at Ethereum Brazil or Ethereum Sao
That's
Paulo
true.
hackathon. I didn't realize you were just launching at that time, though. I didn't realize that. That's interesting. So wow, so you guys are really new then, but making waves quickly. So nicely done.
Yeah, that's true. Basically, we have using Cryptum inside of our own stack since 2017, when I opened a Blockforce, which was our previously company. So that led us to build this more as a service company, which is Cryptum itself. So basically, the market have been experienced and using Cryptum, but as a company itself, it's just since September last year. And there we offered to the developers into the hackathon the opportunity to use Cryptum as a tool, and it was a really great experience because they really used it and provided and built use cases on top of it. So it was a great moment for us.
Great, great. So the tech stack has been operative for quite some time. And then Cryptum is just really kind of the commercialization of actually creating a company around this and kind of kind of making this a bit more widely available to developers and professionals.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
and as since we launched it, we have been applying to and helping some companies to get inside the Web3 space, like as a service. And for sure, we provide them some professional service based on our experience in blockchain development. So therefore, we can offer like a 0 to 100, like full experience to them to get 100% on board on Web3. So our view is to offer the most ready and complete documentation to developers do whatever they want on Web3 based on their regular knowledge, like JavaScript and also APIs, and to help companies based on that stack to get like fully onboarded on Web3. So basically,
Got
our
it.
approach is that. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yes.
Um, So, I mean, I'd like to dive maybe a bit more into just some of the partnerships, like who are some of your clients, who are you working with. Maybe we can talk a bit about that a little bit later on in the recording if we have time. But I would like to dive into this report that you all commissioned, and it's a pretty extensive piece of research. You guys interviewed over 1,000 people from around Brazil, both kind of retail and professional financial industry professional participants. Maybe tell us a bit about what's your motivation for commissioning this, and maybe what were your objectives? What were you trying to get out of this? What were you trying to learn?
Amazing. So based in our experience, that like the most that the one since we launched Cryptum, we noticed that the most ready companies to get inside the blockchain space or Web3, as we can say, are the related to the financial market. So there's a much more readiness to them related to the maturity of the business, as well as the nature of the transactions. So as well as any kind of company can become like a fintech based on in the tokenization space, which are the most how can I say concentrate area that we have built some use cases using Cryptum. We noticed that the financial sector will be the most ready to get on board Web3. So based on that, like on our own feedback since we launched Cryptum, we decided to get like more curated data regarding that sector and their perceptions to offer them the most, how can I say, tailored and ready to use tools, as well as some modules to get them inside blockchain. So the commission was motivated to get that perception and to get some insights regarding the public, as well as to get the opportunity to know that decision makers, right? So as well as once we do like a commission to them and a survey, we get to know their pains and their what they were looking to. So basically, to get more near to that market, you know.
And then really quick, just on the methodology. So how were these people selected? And then once you had identified these people and approached them, like what were the types of questions, or what types of questions were asked, and then how were the questions asked? So how was it like an in-person interview? Was it like an online survey? Like how did the actual kind of data intake happen?
Yeah, it was mainly an online interview with them. It was led by a partnership that we had with Sherlock Communications, with our marketing agents. So we mixed up our contacts and our the public that we have from financial sector, and therefore they led us to do that survey with them. So there are different types of publics that we reached, which is the consumer, general consumer, and as well as the financial professionals. So these are different types of the publics that we reach. So related to the financial sector, it was about of 100 professionals, and to the general consumer public was about 1,000. So basically, it was led online. And the idea that we had is basically that the general understanding is that real digital is coming, and like the central bank agenda is getting once a time more consolidated, and we'd like to understand what is the feeling and the perception of the market to that adoption. So what we got from it is that basically there's a is there a well perception from the general public, like 80% of the Brazilians understand that will be like good incomes about that, you know. Especially regarding to the way people can purchase some things, and to the loans, and to reduce some bureaucracy. I think that's a great perception regarding the technology, although it's not how can I say fully understood, you know. But there's that feeling that the technology will provide through the programmability of the money, some ways to reduce and to enhance the speed of the payments that we have. To the financial market, is there some concerns related to the security and the stability of what we're gonna provide, the real digital, and how they're gonna be set here? But as well as we are seeing constantly an increased movement from the central bank, like providing us a lot of collaborative access towards this real digital building. I think this way of build this technology will help us to solve a lot of questions and to reduce these security issues, you know.
Great. Yeah, thanks for that overview. That's super helpful. So maybe let's dive in here. We'll kind of break apart the different segments. Kind of retail versus professional audience segments here that you talk to. Let's start with maybe the retail or general population. Maybe walk through some of the key findings. That the general populace has toward. I'm particularly interested in just views toward crypto in general. I think just in this season right now, we're in kind of obviously kind of a tough spot as an industry. And in Brazil, obviously, like there's probably a lot of people who have lost money, and there's a lot of these kind of weird pyramid schemes and stuff. And even if you're not involved in the pyramid scheme, you've still probably lost money investing in some of these things. So, and then also with Real Digital, I think the central bank seems to be viewed fairly favorably amongst the general populace in terms of its ability to kind of create new financial products. I mean, I think I saw something recently that like 80% of Brazilian adults are using Pix right now after just 3 years of being operative, which is pretty incredible. But anyway, enough of me kind of ranting there. But would love kind of your high level findings from what was kind of most interesting about the general population's view on crypto, Web3, digital real.
Yeah, basically took that view. It's great to see that at least 62% of the general public view is like proud of our central bank, as well as from Pix experience, as well as for this innovative vision that we have for the future. So basically that like shows that although it's not fully understand like the Pix, the Real Digital, we have that perception of leadership and proudness of our country. So that's a great finding. And like more than half of the people who are interviewed, like 51%, see that's as an opportunity as for financial inclusion. So as mentioned, like although it's not fully understand regarding how the programmatic mobility will work, we get this perception. The financial products that could be impact and help us, the population, to get more connected to Real Digital was seen as like saving time, as well as to reduce some bureaucracy for more than 42% of them, and also to simplify some process related to purchases and loans to 37% of the people in general public, which was interviewed. So they basically don't know, at least we bet on this, that they don't know already about the DVP process and some of the real tests that have been put on the place, but we got this perception. So borrowing loans will be highly impacted by that, the perception of Real Digital.
Oh yeah, so I was just gonna ask, do you guys know, or were you able to discern in your interviews with these folks, like what are the primary sources of information that these people are? I guess this would apply to both retail and professional investors, but like where are people getting information about, I guess, digital real and about maybe crypto more broadly? I know the business press here has been covering crypto a lot more kind of fervently. And obviously there's YouTubers and influencers and stuff. Hopefully they read Brazil Crypto Report, but I mean, I guess if you don't speak English, that's not going to help you that much. But but do you have any sense for like where people are getting their information from on these subjects?
Yeah, basically our commission didn't pick up this information, where they got like the information from. But basically we don't know about this, where they feed themselves. But a great information that we got is basically that at least 80 from 30% of the interviewed people don't know that Brazil played that innovation and leadership role into the tokenization, as well as financial payments, instant payments into the global worldwide view, So basically, I think kind of survey that we did help them to get in touch with this kind of information, So although we're gonna get like informations from them to do that kind of report and survey, basically we got some role to inform them about this news, So I think this kind of efforts help them, the population as well, to get informed about this kind of innovation.
Yeah, obviously, yeah. If people are coming to you and asking your views on these things, and you don't have a view firmly solidified, or you haven't put much time into learning about it, that sometimes that's sort of an inducement to take the time to learn about it, right? Or maybe, hey, maybe I should be paying attention to this. Going back to the kind of the general population findings here, what were the main perhaps skepticisms or reservations that people had about either just crypto or digital real or any of these other subjects you were asking? Is there still a degree? It sounds like most people are at least familiar generally with what these concepts are, but is it? Are you able to discern what are the things that people are maybe a bit sort of uncertain about at this point?
Yeah, basically, we noticed that at least 65% of the people didn't kind of well understand what was about to happen, So they are not familiar with the concept, and therefore there's a kind of septimism, I can say that way, connecting the like Bitcoin and more how can I say, utility coins, utility tokens related to real digital. What's exactly not that, So I think that that mixed feelings regarding the volatility of the crypto and like a stable coin directly to a country is sometimes mixed and get some kind of confusion to the public. So the feeling that they're gonna lose some money or that the money could be like hacked, I think that's a highly important point to get here. Is the most that what we noticed, through the interview. So basically, I think that's the lack of understanding of what's the exactly real digital. And we're gonna help that through the educational role that the central bank has and all companies involved in it will play. But basically, I think the septimism is about how this exactly wanna work, and that's kind of actual running process to the whole into the whole entities, right? Lift and next fintech acceleration, as well as the whole educational role that the society has on it. So it's not well defined as well exactly how it wanna work. So basically, this is a septimism that we see into the population, as well as the lack of understanding into crypto itself. So I think this is the biggest finding that we had.
Regarding digital real specifically, was there any kind of skepticism around like implementation of this? As far, I mean, just kind of going back to this old debate about, okay, you obviously have CBDCs as, okay, they'll offer more kind of utility and faster payments and more efficient and all these sorts of things, and then kind of in exchange for basically like a surveillance state type of supervision of the government will know, central bank will know everything you're doing, kind of thing. There's a lot of these kind of boogeyman-ish type perceptions around CBDCs, and but just given that I mean, this is sort of worldwide. This isn't really like a Brazilian thing specifically. This is kind of everywhere. But given that the Brazilian population has a pretty high view of the central bank, I think you said it was like 62% of people view the central bank in like a favorable way as like competent actors, and they've delivered on producing PIX, which is basically everybody uses now. It seems like people might have a less of a kind of a boogeyman-ish type view of a central bank digital currency, like the digital real. But wondering if there's any kind of if you encountered any of those observations.
Yeah, like regarding to that relation to the peaks, it's great to highlight here that like Brazil accounts for 15% of the worldwide payments, instant payments, right? Just like behind India. So we according to central bank. That information is not regarding to our survey and our commission, right? So basically, that level ups the expectation for the public to have like really great, how can I say, services related to real digital. So basically, we see that the 51% at least of the respondents see that companies are not uh, believe that companies are not fully prepared to enter into the Web3 space. So that led us uh, to the sentence that Fabio Araújo said into crypto workshop, that is one of the biggest concerns that the central bank has is to get companies prepared to onboard other companies and suppliers to offer the blockchain's infrastructure, So I think this is the biggest concern that we should highlight here to the entrance of that. More related to the usage of the crypto itself, to the CBDC, we see that the security aspect is the more highlighted concern that we had, because as well as mentioned previously, the concern related to crypto and Bitcoin is all related to stability and security to that field. So basically, this is the most important thing to highlight. The other ones that we can say about the public is that they demand a clear and simple information about real digital. Like they are 74, if I don't, 75, 6, if I don't, if I don't. If I remember well, wants more knowledge about it, and 35% wants more accessible language about it. Because when we talk about blockchain and Bitcoin and cryptocurrency as well as CBDC, we got a little bit technical about it. So I think this more educational process will leverage this accessibility, as well as 30% expect a more easy to use tool about it. So I think this will help a lot of companies to implement this internal logic into their fields. So basically, other people think that the media coverage, also the enhance of the media coverage on this topic, will help them to get more understand. So I think this is a kind of ecosystem process, right? To get this into the end user, into the companies. So I don't know exactly if I answer your specific point, but this is kind of the general view that we got from the survey.
Yeah, so it sounds like there's enough of there's kind of enough sort of trust in the central bank. There's enough, people seem to be more worried about the kind of some of these security aspects, because if they hear about digital real, and it's at least in some way it's related to cryptocurrency, even though it's not a cryptocurrency, but it's there's some of the same mechanics and the same underlying technology and some that type of thing. And there's obviously concerns about, okay, like how do I like not get hacked and not have my funds stolen and all these types of things. So it sounds like those are maybe more, those concerns are a bit more prominent than maybe perhaps some of the privacy concerns, like I had mentioned, like I was kind of alluding to earlier, where okay, you're kind of trading off financial efficiency for perhaps like some potential like greater surveillance by the state and kind of all your data being aggregated, monetized, all that kind of stuff. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yeah, absolutely. It's exactly like that.
Okay.
So, and to help that process, Aaron, what we bet, man, is basically the there's this financial process and financial view of like getting the companies on board on blockchain and to migrate to Web3. So this will like connect as well as CBDC, the traditional market and the current public that uses like Pix as well as other payments models into blockchain. But there's another view that will bring people to blockchain is the tokenization, right? Because we see tokenization as a bridge method to get companies and public inside blockchain, because we leverage like new ways to offer new assets, so the new economy can be tokenized and connect like general public with normal transactions to the Web3 space. So we think that once we had more implementations on that side that shows people benefits and accessibility and globalization to assets and investments, this will let us to connect more clearly the general public with the benefits of blockchain. So companies that related to the financial market, a lot of companies can be converted to be like a fintech once it's able to tokenize its own assets. So then therefore they become fintechs, and fintechs can benefit from blockchain once they implement like the transactions and general worldwide access through blockchain. So I think the use cases are like a key point to get people connected to the benefits and to cut off some of the concerns related to security and stability. So we, as a provider of use cases and a company that helps companies to get inside the Web3 space, we see that this role regarding to provide true and real use cases at this moment of the markets is one of the key opportunities that we have to people feel the benefits and experience how blockchain can benefit from their sides. So like a little like just to complement, we see into the EA and to the into the artificial intelligence space that like chat GPT could change and get into touch of the general public, the feeling of the AI, right? So it was a killer application to related to artificial intelligence. So blockchain lacks for this kind of application in our view. So CBDC has the opportunity to play that roles, to show the population in a really massive way how blockchain can benefit them and offer them some kind of potential to enhance their financials. So to complement it into some business cases into the sector, I think this is a really special moment that we have, and we want to play that role into the market, especially here in Brazil, for instance.
And I mean, maybe taking a step back up a little bit and talking about just asset tokenization specifically, and obviously is one of the use case. I mean, I fully agree that blockchain just doesn't really have that like killer application that that like a chat GPT type of application that people can be like, wow, that's awesome. That's so much better. I'm going to use that every day. Like we don't really have that yet, right? It's sort of sad to admit that after we've been in this industry for so long and we still don't have like a killer application. But maybe based on some of your findings, asset tokenization is one of these. It's maybe one of these subjects that's a little maybe for like an average person or maybe even like an average professional type person. It's like, well, why would I like need that? You know what I mean? There's already kind of crowdfunding that exists. There's already like I don't need tokenization to participate in a crowdfunding campaign or something, right? But this idea of being able to fractionalize assets, tokenize them, and be able to invest, 100 reais into a tokenized, condominium in Sao Paulo or something, or whatever the asset might be, like a future earnings to a football player or something. Are those? I mean, are these concepts that make that people are kind of wrapping their head around, or they're understanding after you're able to explain it to them, or is it has it been kind of tricky has it been difficult to convince people of the utility of these types of use cases?
Yeah, I think you are right. These are one of the most clear benefits that we have into tokenization, but we also have like others from other, how can I say, perspectives of the business. Because once we got the tokenization, I think we made the business global because everyone can buy something with crypto. So beyond it, we make like we do kind of effort towards bunkerization, unbankerization, because people can buy things with crypto So this is a kind of side benefit, but we can, as well as you mentioned, fractionalize it. We give global access, and as well we have the whole compliance that we get through the blockchain itself because of its nature, right? So the transactions are immutable, so we know exactly how to do the accountability and the bookkeeping about this, so we have like clearly benefits towards the reduce of bureaucracy and the costs to validate what is exactly being sold. So we have a lot of benefits related to that. And basically we can represent things into the digital new digital economy. So that's the most killing side of the benefits, because we gave visibility and global access to a new market that's been built. So once we and beyond the fractionalization, which provide a lot of access, because people could buy pieces of it, which was not previously available. Now people can like just buy pieces of it into the global market with things that are not like available previously. So I think tokenization is the bridge that we're gonna have to the blockchain, because once people tokenize some assets, can be real world assets, like from a real estate company to a carbon credit company to a digital identity property, like this will let people to get access to this new economy, and therefore to use CBDC, and therefore to use stable coins, and to get like the feeling of how all blockchain benefits. At least this is our view.
Yeah, and then I guess one final question here before we kind of round out. Specifically in the report, you had there was a question that says, "Do you think this question was intended for financial services professionals specifically?" And the question was, "Do you think the Brazilian financial services sector is ready to accept the digital real?" And we have 30% responded no, and I don't think they are in the near future. And then 34% says no, but it might be possible in a few months that these companies will be ready. So you have basically 64% of people saying no, we're not ready for this. And I think maybe that's not terribly surprising. I think obviously like financial services is not it's kind of a slow moving industry, right? In a lot of ways, right? Especially if you have established banks, and I think what's being asked of the banks right now is quite a lot. But maybe what's your takeaway on that specific question? Is this a bad thing? Is this expected? Is this is this maybe a good maybe just like signal that there needs to be a bit more education done, and there needs to be more work helping these companies perhaps better understand what this digital real kind of ecosystem will actually be?
I think that's a kind of natural mark that we would have, right? Because the financial sector should have clear uh, notes and clear like evidence that it's great to be adopted. So I think that's a natural output from the survey. But the Brazil, in my view, is running well into the process to educate it. So basically, we have our framework here in regarding to regulation, and I think this is a great point to set what should be done and what shouldn't be done, and like to have clear, at least for instance, clear paths and frameworks to run a business here into crypto space. So I think this is a kind of signal that we had from that the market's evolving here, and as well as we mentioned, the collaborative way that CBDC is implemented, and the whole effort towards education and inclusion into fintechs, into display of to offer these blockchain fintech related solutions, is one of the most important thing that we have, because this will lead to innovative companies into the financial sector test the solutions and implement and prove by themselves how that could be. And this will be like a movement to educate, and as well as to gain more secure to implement financial solutions regarding blockchain. So this educational path come as an output of trial solutions, I think will lead us to reduce this level of perception of readiness, and as well as the market evolve by itself. So this test of tokenization and this whole CBDC educational effort, as well as our regulation, which is kind of being playing like a good role here, I think we'll work together to step by step reduce this friction, which is normal because we are taking a market which is kind of the most traditional and established one, so we need this kind of step by step process to reduce this friction, I think.
Yeah. Maybe one final question before we wrap up. Was there anything else in the report that you found particularly surprising on any of these questions that you were asking folks? Was there any findings that were perhaps opposite of what you were expecting, or that stood out as outliers like that while we weren't anticipating that?
Yeah, about beyond and moreover this whole skepticism that we see, basically the population is keen to add and to use these new products related to the financial market. At least 42% of the respondents said that they would like to try and to test it. So although we have a lot of friction related to adoption to the financial sector, as we talk here, people are curious about that. People would like to try it. So we noticed that 39% of them will be willing to switch their current financial service providers to a new provider that invests in new technologies and innovations. So that's kind of interesting. I think that innovation feeling is underlying our economy, and people, although this whole skepticism and the educational process, would like to use it. So I think there is a kind of sexy thing related to this innovation, and this is a kind of
Right.
the kind of interesting thing.
So even if people, they don't maybe understand exactly what these concepts are, or what it all means, the bias is toward more innovation and companies investing in new products and these types of things. And there's a bias toward being willing to use these types of services, like once they come online, essentially. Is that
Exactly,
okay?
Man.
Yeah, that feels very in line with my perception of Brazilian people. So
Yeah, it's a kind of creative mix with
yeah,
our mood here, so I think that's all connected.
absolutely. Well, hey, well, thanks so much, Andre, for coming on the show to tell us about this new report. Would encourage everyone to check it out, take a read through it. There's a lot of good insights in there, some really helpful findings, some charts, nicely presented, and I think it's a definitely a big undertaking on your end, Andre, to commission all this and to execute all this. So appreciate you coming on to talk about it. Any final thoughts from you, and then where can folks go to find the report, and where can folks get in touch with you or your team if they want to learn more?
Thanks for having me here, Aaron. I think we play kind of the same role in the ecosystem somehow, trying to bring education and information to the public. So the report is possible to be found and downloaded in our website. We have like a specific tab there to be downloaded. We're gonna spread it in our social medias more, the PDF version as well, into the coming days. And I think that has everything related to our mission into the blockchain space, right? So we want to really provide an easy way and solutions to people and companies get inside the Web3 space. So from tokenization to on and off ramp and digitalization from assets. So a lot of like a whole solution to companies get inside of the ecosystem. And the report led us to get more feeling about this market and feel well about how we can help them. So this is our mission. We would like to we are 100% available to anyone who want to better understand and how to get this business converted to Web3, and even to build a new business from scratch and build using our Cryptum building blocks. So feel free to reach us in our social medias. We are on LinkedIn, Instagram, with Twitter. So feel free to reach us through email. Like my one is Andre at cryptum.io. So basically, feel free to find us through any channels. And I want to glad you, man, for your work here and to be like a gringo, like real with a real Brazilian DNA here doing this kind of work. We are glad to get connected and hope to do a lot of things together with you in the next years, Aaron.
Yeah. Thanks so much. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's been a fun adventure here, being the lone gringo. Well, there's other gringos, but anyway, this has been great. Thanks for coming on the show, Andre. Really appreciate your time, and congratulations again on releasing this.